It's time for Waking Up with Wesley. Today's forecast and weather-wide discussion with WLOX First Alert Weather's senior meteorologist, Wesley Williams.
All right. Hello there, South Mississippi. Thank you for waking up with Wesley. I'm senior meteorologist Wesley Williams. So this is a week that will be on the warm side for January, and that actually means fog, right? And any time in the winter when you warm up, you can get that fog machine to get going. And so that's one thing that I do want to draw your attention to. We're going to take a look at that fog outlook, which does show the potential for multiple rounds this week of fog across parts of South Mississippi. If you take a closer look at this map, you can actually see that there is that potential in the area for fog to develop across parts of South Mississippi. This map particularly shows Tuesday, if not into Tuesday or Wednesday, that could be our problem time. So travel for this week could find some impacts for the morning drive around Tuesday in South Mississippi, around Wednesday in South Mississippi. We'll see maybe some more fog is a possibility on Thursday, Friday, but right now the map's not showing it. But that could change as we update the information. But those 2 days, Tuesday, tomorrow, and Wednesday, the day after tomorrow, we do want to give you that first alert that we could find some fog. And again, that's just because we're continuing to see these above normal temperatures that will stick with us for this entire week, and that milder weather, when you get the mild and moist air over the relatively cooler waters, that really helps fog to form this time of year. And we'll see that continue. But there is a shakeup as we get to the later part of the week, because a system moves in, and that actually will bring us some late week rain and storm chances, maybe severe weather for some parts of the region, and then a cool down over the weekend, a weekend cold front. So let's get you through your Monday. If you're getting started, you know, this is the first Monday of 2026. There's a lot of New Year's resolutions that might have been made. This is your first Monday. Maybe you're about to get at your new fitness plan and such. Well, the weather is actually pretty nice today if you're going to be going out for a run or a walk or a jog. We got temperatures in the morning in the cool 50s, so you don't have to bundle up as much. And in the afternoon, it will be in the mild 60s. Maybe some spots closing in on the lower 70s in some areas away from the water. But all in all, a pretty mild Monday on tap as far as for January standards is concerned. This is why it's so mild. If you look at the picture here, we got an upper high that's located off to our east. A ridge of high pressure that's located off to our east. And this, along with the ridge upstairs, is actually helping us to see this warmer air coming in from the west. So that's going to be the pattern that is likely locked in place for the majority of this week. So if I fast forward this all the way to Friday, every day we're still tapping into that wind from the south, from the southwest. And look, this is all the way on Friday. You still find that clockwise circulation offshore of the Atlantic coast. That's that high situated over there. And so that keeps us with this clockwise circulation around the high. When we say clockwise, we're talking about this way. And so that's what helps to get this wind from the Gulf. And it's 5 days in a row with air from the Gulf. That's why our temperatures are going to be above normal. And eventually we'll see some change, though, because back here to the west, we actually have a low that's going to swing in with a cool front, and wind around a low actually is opposite from a high. Wind around a low goes counterclockwise. So we'll actually see those winds come on in from the north and west like that, and there will be a cool front associated with that too. And so as that cool front comes in, that's what will help to sweep away the warmer air and help to bring in some cooler air. So when we fast forward this into the weekend, yeah, all that orange color is gone, replaced by blue color, indicating the potential for a pretty steep drop in temperature by the time we get to the weekend. So there you go with those highs getting into the 60s and 70s for the majority of this week, which is certainly above normal for January. But then by the end of the week, we start to see those numbers coming down. We can see Friday still warm, some 70s, which is around 10 degrees above normal. But then Saturday, we're already starting to see those cooler temperatures as the front arrives on Saturday. And then we're looking at Sunday, and we'll actually drop it close to normal. Out of all the next 7 days, Sunday will be the day that actually feels the most like January, because our normal is 61. And if we have a high at 58 on Sunday, that will actually be the day that is closest to normal. Now, in order to get to the cool down, we'll see some rain chances kicked up. For the most of this week, if you look closely, you'll notice that the rain chances are basically slim to none. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, finding very little to no rain, even for Thursday. But once we get to the end of the week, that Friday and Saturday, that will be the days that feature our highest chances for rain. And if you're kind of specific about it, it does look like it could be mainly Friday p.m. through Friday night and concluding basically Saturday a.m. So that's when you're going to find the majority of our most consistently high rain chances, Friday p.m. to Saturday a.m. And this is a look at why. So on Thursday, our rain system is developing. There it is. That's our rainmaker for Friday night. It's developing over Missouri on Thursday. There could be some spotty showers with ahead of that. That's why if you look on the map, you can actually see some very light rain here, but that's literally just because we're tapping into that moisture coming in from the Gulf. And so that can allow for some of that Gulf moisture to have just a few pop-up showers at times on Friday. But it's not a very high rain chance for us compared to areas that will be much closer to the heart of that developing system near Missouri. Now fast forward to Friday, and the rain system's approaching. Now the heart of the rain system, as you might have saw, actually moved from Missouri up in toward New York State. But what's happening here is even though that low has moved up, we're getting this cool front to really form right here. And so that cool front will be situated right here on Friday, and it's going to slowly move from northwest to southeast. Watch it as we go from Friday to Saturday. Notice how all of that moves from northwest to southeast. So we'll rewind that for you and do it a little bit more slowly. But here's Friday night, and you can see that we do have, let's rewind that one more time. We do have on Friday night some rain that is developing here, and this could be when some thunderstorms are in the mix. You know, there might even be some severe weather with some of this Friday p.m. rain and storms over parts of Arkansas, Tennessee, North Mississippi, parts of Louisiana. Let's go a little bit more in time as we go to maybe midnight, Friday night into Saturday morning. And we're still looking at the potential for some rain showers and storms in the region. This would likely be one of our best chances for rain over the next 7 days around Friday night in South Mississippi. So that's, again, the potential for some showers and thunderstorms stretching across Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Alabama, Kentucky. And all of that is ahead of an approaching cool front, which will be moving in from the west. Now, as we get to Saturday morning, that is still going to have perhaps a few lingering showers. As you can see, a few lingering showers right there across our area, but the front is literally about to move in. So we're about to cool off and dry up. We just have to get through Saturday morning with some lingering showers. Maybe a rumble of thunder, but a lot of times during the morning hours like that, those thunderstorms tend to lose their energy. So I think we'll kind of decrease the thunderstorm chance Saturday morning because you don't have enough daytime heat to fuel storms that time of morning. But there still might be some rain showers lingering. By the time we get to lunchtime on Saturday, look at this. Where's most of the rain? It has now at that point moved off to our east. So we're seeing most of the rain. I drew that a bit larger. Let's try again if we're more specific with it. Most of the rain is off to our east, off to the east of the Mississippi coast. And so that's how we'll see the majority of the weekend turning drier, because once we get to Saturday afternoon, here's an example of 3 p.m. on Saturday. And most of the rain is off to our east, so that's likely going to begin that drier trend for us as we go toward the rest of Saturday. And there Sunday, all the rain is well to our east, well over toward Florida and out over the Atlantic Ocean, as that is where the front will likely be positioned by the time we get to Sunday. The front will have passed us and have moved on, and we're going to notice drier, cooler conditions. One last thing I want to bring to your attention before we go is that risk of severe weather. We've been mentioning this during GMM. Friday night, the Storm Prediction Center has highlighted an area for the risk of severe weather. And when we say severe weather, it's a specific thing. It's not just lightning, it's not just rain. It's 3 things: the risk of tornado, the risk of hail the size of a quarter or larger, and the risk of damaging straight line winds that top 60 miles an hour. all of those things can cause damage. So that's what severe weather is when you ask a meteorologist. And that's when those severe thunderstorm warnings come out. That's when those tornado warnings come out. It is unlikely to get one of those types of warnings for just lightning or just rain. In order for those types of warnings, there have to be things that cause damage into multiple areas of property and or harm to livelihoods. So tornadoes, damaging gusts, and hail. So those are the things that are highlighted near Jackson, Mississippi, and northward. So that's something to keep in mind if you have some travel plans on Friday night. It looks like those will be the areas that could be targeted where we see the majority of the severe weather ingredients coming together. Down along our coast, it's a possibility that we could be spared from the worst probability. I will say, when you look at these maps beyond 3 days into the future, so here we are on Monday, day 1, Tuesday, day 2, Wednesday would be day 3. Once you go beyond that, the Storm Prediction Center doesn't really give you the level 1 through 5 that we're used to seeing. So we assume the area that we're looking at there for Friday, which is day 5, it would be a level 2. When you go that far into the future, they don't even show you where the level 1 is going to be. So I think with this type of look where the level 2 is going to be touching Jackson, I would imagine just for clarity, when we see the next map revealed, once we get 3 days within Friday, probably going to see an area like this that is going to be a level 1 area. Remember that probability goes up, right? Level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The higher that level means the higher the probability of seeing damaging storms. So we might stay out of the 2, but I think that maybe the 1 could be drawn around us. That's just my assumption. We'll see what winds up happening when the Storm Prediction Center updates their map. There could be a number of changes to this map. What they could do not only is, of course, they're going to draw the level 1 area eventually, but they might actually expand the level 2 area to be a larger zone. Maybe that touches our coast. They could also shift it farther east or shift it farther west, depending on the speed of the approaching front. If it slows down, if it speeds up, that could cause the map to shift that way. And they could also increase the intensity. Right now, level 2 is the highest probability, but maybe they draw a level 3 inside of that level 2 at some point. So all of those possibilities are on the table. And it's just to say that, look, it's still 5 days into the future. We're not going to pinpoint exactly what ultimately to expect 5 days ahead of time, because there still are a lot of moving parts. And so you'll need to check back to see what the updates to the information are. And of course, if you're tuned into the First Alert Weather Team, then you're of course going to get that update as soon as it comes out. But as far as our 7-day forecast shows, in the short term, we're looking at limited rain potential, mild air, multiple rounds of morning fog. It doesn't show morning fog on the 7-day because it's a 7-day forecast, not a 7-morning forecast. But if this were a 7-morning forecast, you'd probably see the mention of fog here. Especially for Tuesday morning and Wednesday morning. And then we get to later in the week and the rain chances start to perk up. Thursday around 20%. Friday, the chance could be in the 40 to 60% range. And that continues Friday night with a risk of severe, hopefully staying to our north and staying away from our coast. And then on Saturday morning, maybe the thunderstorms lose their punch because it's the overnight hours, Saturday morning, there's not enough heat to fuel storms, so we might just see more rain than storms. And then we get to Saturday afternoon, and things are drying out and cooling off as we see kind of a reduction in rain chance for the rest of the weekend. And you see that Sunday, highs dropping into the 50s. So it looks like we'll see a return to January conditions. You just have to be patient enough for it and wait until we get to the weekend, and we'll see return to some less warm weather. Well, that'll do it for today's edition of Waking Up with Wesley. I've been Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams. Take care, and we'll see you again next time.
Thank you for watching Waking Up with Wesley with WLOX First Alert Weather Senior Meteorologist Wesley Williams.